What's up, YouTube family? It is Shannon once again, and today I am going to show you how I do a comb over with a hard part and a nice little blurry fade. So let's get this thing started. First of all, I am making sure that all the hair is combed over so that I do not cut it off, all the long hair that is. So I'm hitting it right now with the number 2 with my Wall Magic clips, number 2 premium guard. Also, I know my arm's in the way, I apologize about that, but as you can kind of see, I'm taking the number 2 all the way up to the long hair. Make sure you push the long hair over so you do not cut it off, right? So anyways, what you want to take it as close to the long hair as possible so that you can get every single little hair. Make sure there's no hair poking out, sticking up, but if there is, you can always come back later with the scissors and knock that off. So next, I'm coming in with the 1.5 guard, and I'm just going to go right underneath that 2 guard. So once again, I like the fade down technique. I hit it with the number 2 first, up in the parietal ridge area, and then right underneath that, I just come in with that 1.5 guard, drop a little lower than the 2, and just bring it right into the number 2. Then you'll see in just a moment, I'm going to switch it out and use a number 1 guard. But I'm going to open up the number 1 guard to a 1.5, some would think, but obviously you have a 1.5 guard. But it's a little bit shorter than a 1.5 guard, I believe, but it's a 1 open. And I'll blend right into the 1.5 guard with the 1 open, and I'll start closing it and working my way down where it's just a number 1 guard. See, here I go. You can see that the lever is fully open, and I'm just working that 1 open right underneath the 1.5. It's a very simple process. For me, it works great. And my whole challenge here, I don't want to show you just how I cut hair as far as what it looks like at the end. Obviously, I want it to be a nice blurry fade, but my main thing is I want to show you guys just simple steps, tips, techniques on how to give a nice blend. Some people like my cuts, hey, some might not. That's okay with me. This is just how I do it, and I think it comes out pretty blurry. So once again, you can see that I closed my number 1 guard and I went into that. Now, if you see any dark spots, open it back up, work your way back down, repeat the process in the areas that you need to repeat the process so that you can see this thing start to come together. Now, as you know, I'm just going to work on one side at a time. Normally, I would fade all the way around the head, but for the sake of the video, I want to do one side at a time, just so you can see all the steps at one time without me spinning him around and around and around. Alright, so what I'm doing next, I'm taking the half premium guard with my Wall Magic clips, and I'm moving down a little bit lower than where the 1 was at. I'm just tapping it out a little bit, flicking, just trying to knock some of that bulk down. But I want you to notice how I'll use different angles. Sometimes the blade is completely up against the head. Sometimes I'll pull it out a little bit, almost like a scratching or a flicking motion. But while I'm doing this, just know this, I am very light-handed. I don't want to kill the person's head. I know so many barbers that, man, they do great fades, but they're so heavy-handed that it just hurts, man. Especially when you're dealing with little kids like this. You want to be light-handed. You don't have to put all this pressure. Just simply let the clipper do the work. And if you'll be light-handed, you'll see that just like I was using the half guard up in the area where I was doing the 1.5 guard, I can lightly hit those places without going too deep and making any more lines. So right now, just for my viewing pleasure, I went ahead and broke out my Anda Slimline Pros Li so that I could create a little edge. And there again, The reason I do this is because I like to see it. You can wait to the very end, but for me, I like to throw an edge on it before I completely bald it out, simply because then I can see where I want to bald it out. For me, sometimes I like to stretch it a little lower so I can see that nice C cup and how it's going to blend and things like that. Once again, I'm pushing the hair all the way over and I'm creating the hard part. We don't need to make a highway, fellas, ladies. We just need to go ahead and lightly tap in there, make a nice little line. You can see I'm tapping around because there are some hairs that are shorter that were kind of sticking out through the long hair that I have been over. I'm trying to just knock them down as I'm creating this line. Now right now I'm just trying to really make the line, but this is where I want to bring the precision. When I turn my blade over like that and I hold the clipper in that position and I'm coming down with it, that's where I'm going to get that nice clean hard part, that nice clean line. So once again, you don't have to put a lot of pressure, and make sure when you're going down in that downward motion with the Slimline Pros or with your edgers that you don't push down really far, because you don't want to create a big fat part. A nice clean simple part is all it takes. So now I have my Oster Fast Feeds and I have the blade all the way open, no guard, and I'm coming up right underneath where I did the half guard with my premium half guard with the Wahl Magic Clips. And I'm just kind of lightly tapping around with the corner. If there's any dark spots, I'm taking those out. Now I closed it all the way and I went a little bit lower, and now I'm kind of blending into that. So I'm just kind of flicking around at it using the whole blade, the corner of the blade, you know, just kind of playing around with it. Let me say this, that a lot of times when you're doing detail work, it's just a lot of lever play. You're just opening and closing and maybe opening it halfway and just kind of hitting it in different angles just to take out little spots or little lines so that blend can come together nicely. Right now I have it all the way closed. I'm just kind of knocking down the bulk so that I can prepare the canvas to come in with my Slimline Pros and clean that up. The reason I'm doing that is simply because I don't like to always put a lot of tension on my Slimline Pros or my T-outliners or whatever kind of edgers that I'm using, because you know they're more for edging and cleaning things up, not necessarily knocking down a lot of bulk, even though they can. So now I switched over to the Slimline Pros. I'm just coming in with, you know, the corner of the teeth, and I'm just kind of lightly flicking around, taking out any light spots. And there again, if you have a line, if you will use the corner of your edgers, the corner of the teeth, and just kind of tap around at that line, you'll watch that line just fade away. It's a real cool tip, a cool trick, and we're just, you know, kind of taking it down there again, another level, and just balding out under that. So then just a moment, I'm going to bring out my Pro-Foil shavers and I'll shave underneath that line. So I always, in the fade down technique or in my fading technique, I'm just always moving down just a little bit farther and you know, kind of blending up into the last line that I created, or the last fade that I created. So now I'm just using my Pro-Foil shavers to kind of touch up the edge a little bit in the C-cup area. And see, now I'm real low and I'm just kind of tapping around. And what's funny is, just like I use my edgers, the corner of my edgers or the corner of my clippers, a lot of times, man, I'll just lightly tap with the corner of my shavers as well. And you'll see there's times I go up, and if I go up and I create a little hard line or a line that I was like, man, I didn't want to do that, you'll see I'll just kind of move down. I'll flick in a downward motion like I'm doing now, and what happens, it'll just knock that line right out. So if you're going down, it shaves nice and close, but it's not going to be as close as you shaving up against the grain. Now we're doing the same exact thing to the back, going through all the steps. Just sped it up so we can save some time. And then you'll see, I see a little bulk in the back right there at a certain angle because of the dip in his head, the crevice. So I just take my shear over comb, start doing the shear over comb technique, and I'll just tap out little spots, or I'll knock quite a bit of bulk off with the full blade. But most of the time I'm just using the tip of the blade like I'm doing right now. Alright, so I finished edging them up, My arm was in the way again, so I just figured I'd trash that part of the video because you couldn't see it anyways. But I edged them all the way across, then on the other side, finished the other side of the fade, and now I'm just coming in with the blade and just lightly tapping in that area. Now, like I said before, we like to use Tomb 45 shave gel. It's an amazing shave gel. However, when I'm doing the line, I usually don't ever put shave gel on a part simply because to me it makes a mess. So I just squirt a lot of water on their hair, being I'm going to style it anyways. And then I just make sure I get that water in the part and come in and hit it with the blade. So now I am touching up the front of the edge with the razor just to give it that clean, crispy look, help that edge pop out a little bit, which I think is coming together quite nicely. And as you can tell, this little guy, he doesn't like to blend the other side. We fade underneath it, but he likes to leave length if he wants to put it up in a man bun, or he just likes that disconnected look where it falls over to the side like that. Right now I'm using gummy gel, kind of style the hair a little bit, and I think it came out pretty nice. If you like this channel, why don't you go ahead and subscribe, click your notifications, boom, there is the finished product. Once again, if you like it, man, hit that thumbs up, share it with your friends. I appreciate every subscriber. Thank you so much. God bless you guys. Peace.